10:89 and 10:53 a.m. Talk Sport.
Right, many thanks to James Whalen and also to Ash. I hope you find your car keys, Ash. The idea was to make you laugh. We're going to be talking about the devil in a bit. Our special guest is Henry Ansgar Kelly, joining us, I think, from California. I want to talk to you about animals before we do that. Experts have been warning of a threat to humans and livestock as animal activists plan to release extinct predators back into Britain. How would you like to see lynx? That's quite a hefty cat, really big teeth. Grey wolves, moose, walrus and bison released into the UK by the Wild Beast Trust. Now, at first glance, it seems a workable plan, unless you consider how safe it'll be on a snowy winter night when the car breaks down and you can't hear anything but wolves howling, not to mention the bison, the lynx and the moose with the large racks of horns. Is it still a good idea? I'd appreciate knowing your thoughts, actually. Is it still a good idea? On the face of it, they're caring for animals. They're restoring animals to the territory that they once belonged in. But they didn't belong there with the population density we have now. It might seem like a good idea in the short term. And then what's going to happen to those animals when 2 or 3 children get dragged down? Oh, they surely will. 08704 20 20 20. 08704 20 20 20. Labour lobbies could probably eat their heart out because hard man and actor Vinnie Jones is thinking of entering politics. He was talking to Psychologies magazine and he said, "I'm a conservative, but I talk for the ordinary working classes. I get on with the boys at the pub, but I can mix with Prince Andrew. I understand both levels. The toffs haven't lived in council estates, they've just known big mansions. How can I understand how the postman feels? I'd never say no to becoming an MP. He could be what David Cameron needs." So here's a question. America's got Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor of California. Would Vinnie get your vote? Yeah, think about it. 08704 20 20 20. 08704 20 20 20. And Boots, the chemist. There's one on every high street. They've joined the rush to banish cheques. Cheques are only to be banned by Boots. They'll take credit cards, they'll take cash, but not cheques. How does that fit in with the scheme of things for you? That's just one branch, but if they're thinking about doing it, not just Boots in other words, but all the shops on the high street, you can understand it. Before you decry it, you can understand it. There's a queue of people, somebody gets their checkbook out, and then their pen, and they take the cap off, and just stick it on the top, then they start to write it out. Oh, we're going to be here forever. And you start looking around you thinking, is there a Starbucks nearby, can we get a cup of something? It soaks up time. But the point is, there's 2 sides to every arrangement when it comes to buying and selling. The vendor should be accommodated because the customer is suggested to be always right. But the other side of this issue is a little more simple. It maybe suits some people to pay by cheque. Maybe their personal services are such that that's what they can afford to do. 08704 20 20 20. You can text me on 81089. I know it's a thrill, isn't it? And you can send me an email to talksport.net. We're talking about a lynx on the loose. The concept of lynx, moose, grey wolves, walruses and bison. So when I say bison, that's the stuff that they used to shoot in America. Well, they used to wander the plains of Europe. You can imagine having those going wild in the countryside. And is there that much unclaimed countryside going free? Well, they're thinking about building on greenfield sites. There's not going to be... Can you imagine your new house in Kent, in Northants, up in Lincolnshire? Open the back door. How safe would that be? Yes, not safe at all. 08704 20 20 20. Now, talking of wild beasties, if your neighbour's cat tends to treat your garden as a loo, from now on you can forget pepper spray and water pistols. The thing to get the cat to stay away from your property is tiger dung. Tiger dung. It's true. Suburban gardens troubled by unwanted visitors need a touch of Sumatra, according to Chessington World of Adventures, which has auctioned off a year's supply of that new black gold on eBay. Really? I hope they put plenty of plastic down. If claims made by the Surrey Theme Park staff prove to be accurate, and the dung really does scare away cats and foxes, then tiger manure could soon be in big demand. You can tell it's the rich South. You can tell, can't you? Because even dung is dear. Would you be doing that? Putting the tiger dung down just to keep next door's cat away from your roses? 08704 20 20 20. Personally, I think it's a brilliant idea. Yeah, I do. I really do. Tom's in Stowmarket. Hello, Tom. You're on talkSPORT. Good morning.
Oh, yeah. Good morning to you, sir. Black cats. We got them round here, actually.
Really?
Yeah, big ones, I mean.
How big?
4 foot long.
That's long enough.
Yeah, I've actually seen one.
Is that 4 feet, including the tail?
No. I don't really know, but I'll tell you what, that was massive, and I wouldn't have ever got out of the motor.
Supposing it broke down, I mean, with modern cars, you know, the likelihood is not so strong, but supposing it did, and the mobile phone's got a flat battery, so you think, well, I'll lock the car, I'll leave the hazards on, and I'll walk and see if I can find a phone box or someone with a light on.
No.
And then you hear, oh, I don't think you'd want to do that, would you?
No way. I'd rather wet myself than get out of that motor.
I didn't know you'd taken this theory so
this
far.
Is the honest truth. I was with my daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you know a place called Stradbroke in Suffolk. And I went round this bend and there was this cat going through the hedge.
Yes.
I said to my daughter, look at that. And I couldn't believe it. And by the time she'd looked, and that was gone.
So where did these cats come from, Tom?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I'll tell you what, that really frightened me. If I'd been about 5 seconds earlier, I'd hit it.
Wow. Oh, so you were driving?
I was driving, yeah.
Yeah. So, could they possibly have got away from a circus or something?
They possibly could have.
And Stowmarket, are you near a theme park, you know, like a zoo or something?
No, there's Banham Zoo up towards this.
But you would have heard if they'd have lost a couple of cats, wouldn't you?
Oh, probably.
I wonder if they've got out of somebody's private collection.
I don't know. There's quite a few around. I believe they're up Lincolnshire and all.
Cool. That's bad news if it's in Lincolnshire, because there aren't that many hedges.
No.
So if they take a sight of you, and there's a couple of them, cool, dear.
Well, they've got breed, haven't they?
Yeah.
Must be more than what people see.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I tell you what, though, I wouldn't want to hang around and count them, would you?
No way. Okay, cheers, mate.
Nice to talk to you. Thanks for the call, Tom. If you'd like to be part of the programme, well, just don't hold back. If you want me to give you a name check and a shout, it's 81089, or you can email talksport.net, or call 08704 20 20 20. Little piece about helmeted cyclists. Did you see this? That cyclists who wear helmets are more likely to get knocked off their bicycles than those who do not. Motorists give helmeted cyclists less leeway than bareheaded riders because they assume that they're more proficient. So they give a wider berth to those who think they're not going to look like proper cyclists, including women, especially who don't want to get their hair ruffled, including those also kitted out in lycra-clad warriors. So if you ride a bike, is there any chance that it's true? Of course, there's every chance that it's true. You'll be needing a number. It's 08704 20 20 20. And this was something that really appealed to me, this actually, not necessarily because, yes, we've all got a mother, but one of the most prestigious events of the Jersey show jumping calendar has been cancelled after the mother of a young competitor was accused of feeding sedatives to ponies belonging to her son's rivals. The police were called in after the woman was spotted giving what appeared to be white mints to 5 ponies waiting in the paddock on Saturday, shortly before the Junior Show Jumper of the Year contest. Some parents, as you probably know, some parents are so keen that their children do well, they might take their support too far. Did that happen to you? And I'm also anxious to hear your big cat stories. Big cat stories this morning. 08704 20 20 20. Can you imagine, darling, we want the absolute best for you, you know, just going to go and drug all the other horses. Oh, that'll be fine. Thank you, Mummy. Robert's in Leighton Buzzard. Hi, Robert. Good morning. Welcome to Talk Sport.
Hiya. Yeah, I'd just like to talk about the big cat stories.
Yeah, have you got some showing up near Leighton Buzzard?
Actually, well, it's a few years ago, actually. Me and my dad, we were sort of working up in a village nearby, and a chap had a lot of lynxes in cages where we were working.
Yeah.
And he was made bankrupt, and all of a sudden these sort of lynxes disappeared. And during the last couple of years, there's sort of been stories of lynxes sort of being seen around Leighton Buzzard and Bedfordshire and that. So
you could put two and two together and assume that that's where they originated from. How long are these lynxes?
Huh?
How long are them? How long are they? If you the length of them.
They were big cats. We actually saw them in the cages while we were working up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were big animals.
So you wouldn't want to come face to face with one?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
So how does this sit with you that this organisation wants to put these, lynx, wolves, walrus, you've seen walrus with those huge great things coming out of their face, and bison, they want to introduce those to the parts of the country like Northumberland and the west of Scotland, because they used to belong there.
Yeah, well, I don't think they should actually belong there, but I'm just sort of saying that we saw
these
animals there, and then all of a sudden this man went bankrupt that we were working for, and then they sort of disappeared in the countryside, and we've sort of seen around, actually, the paper, the LBO, Leighton Buzzard Observer, where we sort of live around, and they've actually, people have seen these big cats around there, you know.
We'll probably get some more calls this morning, Robert, from people who have a similar experience, because I think you put your finger on it. People are keeping these animals, they're quite exotic.
Yeah, because I think that's a lot of the problem at the moment, because, people have got these large cats around, and they've sort of been kept for, I don't know, if they have private pets or whatever, you know, and somehow, if they can't look after them and they've been let loose and they're around in the countryside. I know because we were actually building some private pens for a certain person that I don't really
that's not
want to
mentioned. No, don't
around the area, you know, and he went bankrupt for some reason, and all of a sudden these cats were let loose. I've seen them. I saw them in the pens, and yeah.
Well, I appreciate you calling, Robert. We won't take it any further, unless some people will get to the situation that they might start to identify the person we've been speaking about. Wouldn't want that. You're listening to Talk Sport. I'm Mike Allen. There's calls coming up from Jason and the rest of the gang. You don't necessarily have to use the phone, as you know. You can text me on 81089 or send an email to talksport.net. Talksport on 1053 1089 AM. Good morning.
TalkSport. Radio that doesn't tidy up after itself.
I'm not guilty of anything.
Evening all. You will know us by our trail of socks and bongo mags across the UK.
Objection.
I've run out of bits of paper. On 1089 and 1053 AM and the girlfriend-impressing phenomenon that is DAB Digital Radio. My word is your guarantee. Talk Sport.
It's Mike Allen for Ian Collins, and also for Chesney, of course. They're just having a little relax, so they let me look after the place. They don't know what dangers they're involved in, do they? Ali, who's on the A303. Hi, Ali. First email of the morning. She said, these wild animals, they'd be outstanding at least. Just think of the family picnics. So much more fun. There's a dark side to you, isn't there? Hello, Ash. What you done?
I was just speaking to Mr. Whale. He can't seem to remember where he put my keys.
Do you know where I'm sitting? Not now, but when I was in the office.
Yeah.
Okay. And...
They didn't throw them out the window?
No.
Right.
No. There's a desk to my immediate left, isn't there?
No.
Okay. It's across a piece of space. and there's a blue box on that desk, and they're in there.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I can go home then.
Yeah. If you need any more help, don't forget.
I'll see if that's where they are then.
Okay.
See you then.
Good luck. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you, man.
Ciao, ciao. When Michael Schumacher announced his retirement, there were raised eyebrows, weren't there? I mean, to carve it up to say it was 50-50, I don't know how true that would be, but there were two camps. There were those who found him remote, whilst others heard about his massive donations to charity. So he was not all things to all people. To some people he was quiet, remote, rather cold, and to others making massive donations to charity, about $6 million or something, especially to the Tsunami Fund. So Michael Schumacher, retired, good soul, or a remote star? Yeah, your thoughts? 08704 20 20 20. When it comes to Formula One motorsport, was there anyone ever better than him in the last 10 years or something? You'll know, because we all sit down and watch television, and we can all do it. We can all drive those cars at 200 miles an hour. Of course we can. No trouble at all. 08704 20 20 20. Michael Schumacher announced his retirement. There were raised eyebrows, two schools of thought. Some marked him down as being too remote and too cool, but others realised he made massive donations to charity, and as a result, rethought their views on Schumacher. What are your thoughts on Schumi? 08704 20 20 20. Led Zeppelin, Rod Stewart, the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, the late Dusty Springfield, they're all set to enter the UK Music Hall of Fame. Well, that's good. I just think, why aren't they in there before? I would have expected them in there before. So who would you nominate to go into the UK Music Hall of Fame? Not too difficult. It could be a bit of fun, actually. 08704 20 20 20, or text on 10889. Emails to talksport.net. Is Ash okay? Let me just check with John. Is he okay, John? We can't hear you.
He's making tea.
So he's got his keys?
Yeah, looks like it.
I should have kept them back a bit, shouldn't I?
He's still here in an hour. He can't find them.
He can't find them?
No, if he's still here in an hour.
I'll go and find them for him. No news from our man in America?
No.
Good. Okay.
Not unless he has the voice of a metallic woman and always says the same thing.
Oh, well, I'm glad he's not on the show then. Okay. We're looking for people who would support our answer in the UK to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Vinnie Jones, former footballer turned actor. He told the Psychologies magazine that I'm a conservative, he said, but I talk for the ordinary working classes. Isn't that what most people really look for in an MP? Someone who speaks their language and, given an opportunity, can argue their corner under certain circumstances. Would you vote for Vinnie Jones? Would he get your vote? 08704 20 20 20. We started off talking about Boots the chemist deciding not to take cheques any longer. As far as they're concerned, if you want to pay by cheque, go shop somewhere else. I can't believe they're so cooperative. It's a bit of a shock. You know, we love watching gardening programmes. Well, maybe not everybody, but those that aren't currently clubbing quite like watching gardening programmes. But the gardeners have been advised they're going to be on the front line of climate change, with the traditional English lawn under threat. And in a speech at Kew Gardens, the Environment Minister, Ian Pearson, will point out that many have already been struggling with serious drought over the past 18 months. So, simply put, this means that plants, grasses and shrubs, the ones we've used that we love seeing in our gardens, will have to change to far hardier plants. So there's going to be a change. How do you feel about that? Well, you must realise that this has to happen because we don't have access to the water to feed the plants we're used to. If I'm proved terribly wrong on all this, actually, as time slips by, maybe we'll arrive at a conclusion in a few days that there's no shortage of water at all. Having said that, you wouldn't want to contribute to it otherwise, would you? 08704 20 20 20. Talk Sport on 1053 and 1089. I'll get Vinnie Jones caller Stuart from Stanmore. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, is this a Michael John Allen show?
No, it's the Ian Collins show with Chesley, but who's not here. But thank you.
So we got into the Allen instead.
Yes.
That's good. Whatever happened? Do you ever to that guy who used to do your credits on the other show? You mean remember that Scottish gentleman who used to do all your credits? You've been listening to Michael John Allen show, studio production by and all that crap, wardrobe by.
I can't remember.
Chap called Cameron.
Sorry?
Do you remember a chap called Cameron?
Cameron? No, I don't remember.
Mr. D. Cameron?
D. Cameron?
You used to do all your special credits.
Ah.
And, oh, well, never mind. You've forgotten already?
Sorry?
You've forgotten that man already?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember which station it was. Don't say what it was, so it's not an invitation for you to say it.
I'll give you a clue. It was a Saturday night before you used to hand over to Mr. Mendoza.
I can't remember who it was. Can't remember.
Okay, I'll let you off then.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry. But what are your thoughts about our answer to Arnold Schwarzenegger?
It could be. I think we've had worse politicians. And I don't know if you remember, back in the days of the Thatcher era, there used to be rallies with all celebrities. Margaret Thatcher started off all the celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she used to have all these rallies with celebrities and etc. endorsing the party. And of all the speeches I've ever heard, do you know the most memorable?
No.
Chap you used to work with many years ago, Kenny Everett.
Oh yes, he joined the Tories, didn't he?
Yes, he made a few rather controversial jokes,
mm-hmm.
which to his day, along the lines of kicking Michael Foot's dick away, etc., typical Kenny Everett style.
Well, that's given it to him the whole way, isn't it?
Yes, and unfortunately, that type of speech probably drew more applause. It's probably more memorable. His comments are probably more memorable than any politician's speech. So why can't Vinnie Jones do something? After all, he's turned from hod carrier to footballer to thug to footballing thug to actor, probably businessman as well.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, so he could just have the right type of, and with David Cameron looking out for, in fact, begging anybody who's a minor celebrity to join him.
Yes, he's.
And after all, in today's, as long as you're good on the media and got some sort of street credibility, politics doesn't actually matter too much nowadays.
Well, it's all pretty centralist anyway, isn't it, really? So it's very much in the slant of your writing. But they could do with a little bit of star quality in the front bench of both leading parties.
Well, instead, yes. After all, I can't imagine Vinnie Jones being ordered around by any whips and told he has to vote this way or that way.
They'd have to be very persuasive, I think, to get him to smile.
Can you imagine it?
Can you also imagine him as an MP and somebody on the opposing bench makes a remark or something? And he'd just look at them. You realise that they wouldn't speak again, would they?
That's true. But would the Speaker dare to tell Vinnie Jones that he's using unparliamentary language?
Order.
Exactly. Would you, if you were Speaker of the House of Commons, would you try and suspend Vinnie Jones for not obeying the rules of the House?
Not unless I was speaking from quite a way away. Do you know?
It'd actually be worth it just to see, even if we had got on the campaign trail with him. It would be quite different.
I can't imagine Vinnie Jones ever getting bad service if he turned up at a restaurant or a hotel or whatever. People would just look at those eyes and go, right, okay, sir.
It'd be just the type of person that actually lives up politics, especially with the Conservative Party's reputation of late, which hasn't been all that great since Margaret Thatcher left.
And it's only gone through what New Labour appears to be about to go through, and that's tearing itself apart.
Yes, after we've had... The difference is Labour tore itself into two, New Labour and Old Labour. We've had old Conservatives, real Conservatives, now we've got new Conservatives.
Yep. Not confused at all, are we?
No, of course not.
No.
Now, personally speaking, I thought days were better with the real Conservatives.
Well, time will tell, but we mustn't forget that a lot of people Cameron's age and less, okay?
Yes.
Would feel slightly left out if there weren't some true reflection of their feelings, their aspirations, and people reflecting their age. Otherwise, if the Tories keep turning out people who are so obviously senior, there's not a visual commonality between them and the voters.
That's true. They definitely had. I agree with you there.
Can I just fly something on the back of that? And I say this to you, Stuart, but I'm also putting it out to the rest of the audience. Since the visual medium of television and film and the spin-offs of CDs and DVDs, and and even videotapes. Somebody's got one somewhere. Since that,
videotapes, hundreds of them which I never watch.
Well, I'm just making this point, so I'm going to leave you with your microphone open. So if you want to cheer at any time, do bear in mind that I'm working with you. That it's brought about an awareness in the general public that for you to be perceived as a successful and electable, votable politician, you need to have certain qualities about you. You need to have your hair looking groomed. You need to be a little bit film starry. You need to have your teeth fixed. You have to look aspirational.
That's why I've never been elected to council, is it?
Yes, but that's not your speciality, is it, Stuart? So I put this question to the audience at large. Is that also your perception of politicians that are successful now?
Nowadays, yes. How you come across on the TV and the media is more important than the actual message. Image nowadays is everything. We're in the days of spin, and no matter how anybody might say they want to get back to real politics and end the days of spin, we're too far down the line now where people come to expect the sound bites. Everything in life, and news bulletins, they'd rather have a 30-second soundbite from a politician than a 20-minute interview.
Yes,
on the news.
And I can understand that, because, especially if you don't follow that party. Stuart, it's good to talk to you. What are your plans for tomorrow?
Go to work and come back to work and tune into the Mike Allen Show.
Oh, you say all the right things. I'd give you a T-shirt, but I'm wearing it. Makes you laugh. It makes you laugh, doesn't it? I'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Stuart. Have a good night. Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones for an MP. Now, could you go for that? Is there a part of you that thinks, yes, actually, that might be fun? Vinnie admits he's a Tory, and he speaks the language of the street, but he also mixes with princes and princesses. Question. Simple question. Would you get your vote? 08704 20 20 20 or email talksport.net. I'm Mike Allen for Collins and Chesney. In just a moment, we'll be back with a couple more calls on the
Every Friday afternoon, get set to leap out of your seat like a loon and come on down as we play The Right Price on talkSPORT with Norwich Union Direct Van Insurance, the choice of the professional. Tot up the transfer totals of 3 top Premiership titans and you can bag £1,000 in Friday's Showcase Showdown. That's £1,000 in your hand. Come on down and play The Right Price every Friday at Drive from 4 on talkSPORT with Norwich Union Direct Van Insurance, the choice of the professional. Click talksport.net now.
And while you're there, may we suggest you purchase some consumables from the talkSPORT shop? No need to visit that smelly, unfriendly corner shop ever again. Click talksport.net for all your bloke-type requirements and that emergency pint of milk. Clickety-click, tickety talksport.net. Upon delivery, actual milk may be off.
The melody of throwaway chat-up lines.
Here we are.
And the suspicious waft of inexpensive aftershave. Across the UK, on Whisk You Off to Monaco on a private jet quality DAB digital radio. Or on quick fumble by the bins out the back of the Spa Shop quality 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
Great news. Great news. Had a stack of emails coming in talking about who you would nominate to be in the UK Music Hall of Fame. I mentioned that Led Zeppelin are in there, Rod Stewart, Beach Boys, with Brian Wilson, and the late Dusty Springfield. Who would you nominate? That was the question. So Angus Young of AC/DC says Andy from Birmingham. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Okay? I might even pass these suggestions on, actually, because you just know that the people that run these things like Halls of Fame, they just don't know what's really down, do they? Pete Doherty, I don't know why people pronounce his name Doherty, because he hasn't got a C in it, but anyway, Doherty or Doherty, you will know. He should be straight in the UK Hall of Fame, says Jamie in Darlington. A living legend on the mend. That's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? And for the moment, the last one for the moment, from Jimmy in Bristol, he said, I think UB40 should be in the Hall of Fame, as they're a great multiracial band, and they have been doing what they've been doing for 3 decades. Yeah, they have, haven't they? Been around for absolutely ages. So who would you nominate? Why not send me a text? 81089. Or email talksport.net. John is in Edinburgh. Hello, John. Good morning. Welcome to TalkSport.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm surrounded by paper here. Do you know, one of the reasons I wanted to get into broadcasting is because there's not the paperwork. You should see this. It's like a small forest. There's nothing but paper. How long you been living in Edinburgh?
All my life.
Have you?
I know many things about Edinburgh. Political and the good things to go and see as a visitor. You know? So
tell me, what's the reaction from the residents of the city when the festival's on? I know, obviously some must be delighted, but I'm sure there's a big chunk who think, oh, I can't wait for this to be over.
Well, there is a general disinterest from the point of view that people will either go on holiday at that particular point in order to miss the traffic jams that occur in the city, which seem to get increased unnecessarily so every year by the increasing obstacles that this council, with its transport policy, seems to like to apply. It's like a kind of, every year it gets geared up to how much harder can you make it for citizens of Edinburgh to deal with the roads during the festival, you know, just to, you know, spice things up. They just make it harder every year.
Well, I don't know if you've got any plans to come south for the Olympics, but it's going to be a very similar situation. There'll be more cars than you can shake a stick at.
Yeah.
So listen, you called me about Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, he's got sort of half a hankering to be an MP.
Uh-huh.
So my question is, if they've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's the governor of California, Vinnie Jones has done a bit of acting, why don't they consider him for an MP?
Well, I think anybody who is hell-bent on hanging on to a basic thing and a quality that I would look for in anybody who's purporting to represent anybody is called integrity, and actually have the guts to do that. So I'm not interested in hearing spin doctors or people who have the gift of gab. I'm interested in hearing people who will present the issues regardless of any of those spin doctoring deficits, simply because of integrity. And, you know, if we had that kind of thing being reintroduced right across the political board in this country, I think we might get somewhere.
Well, one thing's for sure, it's not something which has outstayed its welcome, has it? In other words, it's not been used in politicians' parlance for too long.
No, well, it's one of the things that probably when politicians are around too long it gets lost. But for anybody that's, you know, sincere, I think it matters that the political system and the voters, you know, help people, whether independents or working on behalf of other parties, but nevertheless, you know, have a basic integrity, are helped forward with that integrity, you know.
Mm-hmm. Have you got an appreciation of any bands that are based in Edinburgh that you like?
Musical bands?
Hmm.
I am absolutely ignorant of music. Absolutely.
Because you sound as if you enjoy a bit of music.
Yes, but it's not something that I personally think about, actually.
No?
Give myself enjoyment. What I generally do is I'll occasionally switch the radio in the car, and I'll listen to Virgin or whatever's going on, and I like the older style rock music. If I hear anything that is a remake, I absolutely trash it to bits, because it isn't as good as the remake. In fact, I think there's only ever been one or two remakes that have felt surpassed the original.
Thanks for that, John. Good to talk to you. Thanks for making the call. If you'd like to be part of the programme, we're talking about Vinnie Jones. Would you vote for him if he were perhaps to be your local MP? He's got a hankering to do it. Yeah, it's 08704 20 20 20. And the Beatles, you might have heard this, are to appear on a set of stamps featuring images of their most famous album covers. The collection of 6 stamps includes the covers of Sgt. Pepper, The Lonely Hearts Club Band, Abbey Road, Revolver, Let It Be, and With the Beatles. So my question to you, straight from the shoulder, is there any other way, darling? No. If you're from Liverpool, or simply a fan, how pleased are you about this? Whole set of 6 stamps of Beatles album covers. I mean, that's such a great recognition for the band. Whether you're from Liverpool or just a fan, give me a call, tell me how you feel about the news. 08704 20 20 20. On the front page of the Times today, there's quite a disturbing story, because we were talking a little bit about this, I think about 5 o'clock yesterday morning. Hundreds of thousands of homeowners, claims Rosemary Bennett, social affairs correspondent for the Times, hundreds of thousands of homeowners are failing to keep up with mortgage repayments, raising fears that they may lose their homes as inflation rose just the other day to its highest in nearly 2 years. They claim about 770,000 households are believed to have missed 1 or more mortgage payments in the past 12 months. And last night, economists gave warning that the situation would worsen, with interest rates expected to rise next month. So what would your advice be now to people thinking about buying a property? And you can be candid with me. You don't have to use your own name if you don't want the mortgage company to find out what's really going on. But would you like to get out of the property you're in, if you're maybe buying it by yourself or with a loved one, or maybe there's just a group of 4 of you or something and you've got together and you've got a 4-way mortgage? Would you like to get out of it? I'm Mike Allen. My number's 08704 20 20 20. Right. Do I have to pause here, Johnny? I've got to take a little breakette. Now's a good time to call. Unleash the fury. Just checking the emails, and I want to say very interesting comments. It's very interesting because we've been talking about some of these things about half an hour ago, and you obviously sat and thought about it, and that's quality emailing. Thank you for that. Thank you. We were talking about who should be in the Hall of Fame. Jimmy in Bristol suggested UB40. I mentioned this because you might have just joined us. Pete Doherty from Jamie in Darlington, he said he's a living legend to the end. And Angus Young of AC/DC is recommended from Andy in Birmingham, AC/DC, the mighty AC/DC. We were talking about animals that could be replaced into the wild. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't really make sense grammatically, Michael. I'm just reaching for the story so I can read it to you. If you go down to the woods, beware of the animals, because the Wild Beasts Trust wants to see extinct native predators reintroduced to the countryside. Packs of wolves and lynxes could be illegally set free in parts of Northumberland and the west of Scotland, and the extremists want to release at least 6 lynxes bought in France, along with several wolves they're holding in secret locations in southern England. This is a report from the Daily Mail this morning. How would you like to see lynx, grey wolves, moose, walrus and bison released into the country? You're trying to get home one night, the car breaks down. How safe do you feel? Supposing you're not in the car, but it's your nearest and dearest. And they're saying, well, I'm in the car, darling, I might have to stay here all night, you know, and all you can hear is, oh, in the background, you know. So no doubt you'll be happy to talk to me about that. 08704 20 20 20. Claire in Glasgow. Hello, Claire. Good morning to you. She said, what happens when the animals move into towns the way foxes do now? Bet I hadn't thought that one through. Well done, Claire. Does anyone else feel like the world has changed so much in the last 15 to 20 years that it scares or excites them? That's from Mark in Birmingham, who's enjoying the show. Does anybody else feel like the world has changed, says Mark, so much in the last 15 or 20 years that it scares or excites them? Could you go along with that? Would you say yes? Yeah, I feel it's changed. Listen, you've got me, got my vote. Would anyone else want to comment on that? Email talksport.net. And the Hall of Fame, Paul Weller. This is from Sean on the M6. Hiya, Sean. Without question, Paul Weller. He's been on TV quite a bit. There was a time when you didn't see him on television. And he's so good, isn't he? He's just, Paul Weller, bring it on. Right. A great show, says David. But he said, I think Senna was the greatest. Oh, we're talking about racing drivers. Because the question was Michael Schumacher. He's decided to retire. And people seem quite divided about Schumacher. They either find him fascinating driver or just a bit cold and remote. We've just recently learned that he's given vast amounts of money away to charities, and I think that's terrific. But David thinks that Ayrton Senna was the greatest. If he'd not been killed, he says Michael Schumacher would not have had it all his own way. But he's still amazing. I did hear, and I don't mean this to destroy any images you might have about your favourite racing driver. Sadly, Ayrton Senna, of course, as you know, no longer with us. But he was alleged to have said to someone at one time, he had the ability to see the track he was going to be at 2 seconds before he got there. Now, how you do that, I don't know, but I think that's incredible, don't you? I was impressed. You're listening to TalkSport. Normally, Ian Collins is here together with Chesy. They're having a little bit of time off. I'm Mike Allen, just looking after the shop, doing a bit of light hoovering, you know. And Russell's called from Gateshead. Russell, hello.
Hello, Mike. How you doing?
I'm all right. It's a nice deep voice.
I've just got a story to tell.
Oh, good.
It's sort of a warning for other listeners and who see psychiatrists. I was about 2000 or 1999. I went to see my GP because I was depressed and stressed.